One of the ways your church can show your community that you're for them is through leveraging social media. However, the For movement is a different approach from how most churches leverage this technology. Most social media posts from churches are 99.9% about what's happening inside the church. For shifts the spotlight from what's happening inside the four walls of the church to what's happening in the community. Now, this isn't to suggest that we're not going to talk about what's happening in the church. We definitely will. However, we're going to create a much better blend of community and church interaction. One of the ways we'll do this is by remembering it's called social media. Often social media just becomes an electronic brochure. For creates interaction with people, which leverages the power of social media, which is the social part. Perhaps the best news of all is that it's simple and free. Now, this is a proven method of increasing engagement in your community while spreading the message of what your church is all about. It's a win-win. And our promise is that by following and executing these 12 strategies, you're going to see a noticeable difference in followers, engagement, and awareness. So here's 12 strategies to implement the For social media campaign. First, step number 1 is to develop a hashtag. A hashtag is a fantastic way to not only watch what's happening as the message spreads, but celebrate it as well. For example, on Instagram, our hashtag #4Gwinnett, has over 17,000 posts. This hashtag brings a community together. And without the hashtag, these posts would not have been collected together. This allows us to celebrate and allows other people to see the message spread. Of course, it's not enough to have a hashtag. You have to use it. So, from now on, in every social media post, be sure to include your hashtag. Step number 2, develop a social media all-star team. As John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership. The same is true with social media. You need a group of leaders, volunteers in your church to help lead the way and model the behavior that you want repeated so this message gets spread in your community. This is why you need to develop a social media all-star team. This is just a team of volunteers, people who attend your church, who have a knack for social media. They're on Facebook consistently, for example. It doesn't have to be a lot of people, although the more, the better. But if there are only a handful of people in your church, start there. As Zechariah chapter 4 verse 10 says, don't despise the days of humble beginnings. Now, if you aren't sure how to start or to develop a team like this, simply ask. Simply ask people in your church, hey, who do you know in your church who's on Facebook a lot? Who in your church leverages social media for their business? I guarantee you there are people in your church who are using social media either in their business or personal life. These are people you can leverage and ask them, will you help us spread the For message in our community? So once you have your social media all-star team and a hashtag, step number 3 is to meet and reward your social media all-star team. Once you've selected a group of people to be on your volunteer social media team, set up a meeting with them to clarify and set expectations. And for example, here's the proposed agenda for the meeting. Step number 1, explain the For movement. You can use a video from this resource or take what we give you and share it with them at that meeting. Number 2, explain the hashtag and ask them to help spread the message on their social media post. And number 3, ask them to post at least once a week using your hashtag. And we've given you examples in the social media resource section about how they can do this. Item number 4 on this agenda is to provide your team with resources such as t-shirts. Ask them to wear the t-shirts out in the community and post it on their personal social media platforms. Ask them to highlight the community, a great restaurant, a school, or their favorite place in the community using your hashtag. And item number 5 on the agenda is when you preach the For series, ask them to post about it. Invite people to it, post your bottom lines from that series, allow them to really promote the message of that particular sermon series. So that's the agenda when you get your all-star team together. Step number 4 is to make sure that you like and comment on all the #4 posts that are out there. This is where the social part of social media comes in. Developing a hashtag not only allows you to watch what happens, it also allows you to interact. This is where your all-star team and staff can help. For example, at Gwinnett Church, we begin every staff meeting by going to Instagram, searching our #4Gwinnett, and liking all of the posts. This has helped reward the behavior we want repeated. Commenting on posts is even better. This makes your church very, very personal. People love it when their posts are liked and when they receive positive comments. Our experience is the more you like someone's post with a hashtag, the more they keep posting and spreading the message. Step number 5, support events, schools, and businesses. This is an area that every church, I believe, can improve in with their social media game plan. First, follow everyone on your church social media account that follows you. So if someone's following your church needs to follow them back. Secondly, promote community events on your platform. Support restaurants by promoting grand openings or highlighting a staff member at that particular restaurant. Like their post. Comment when possible. This is another opportunity for your church to show you're very interested in what happens outside the walls of your church. Step number 6, #4YourCommunity Friday. For example, we would do #4Gwinnett Fridays. Everyone loves Fridays. So leverage this very popular day by rewarding and surprising people on Friday morning. Here's an example. Load up $25 of coffee on your Instagram feed. You can do it to Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, Chick-fil-A, you pick the vendor. You post an image where people can scan the barcode and you give people free coffee, at least for a certain amount. During the school year, highlight an athlete, school, or student by posting about them on a Friday, congratulating them or wishing them well. And again, be sure to tag them and post it with your hashtag. This kind of encouragement goes a long, long way, and they'll be sure to tell their friends about it. Again, you are talking about the community by talking and encouraging people in your community. Step number 7, resources. Now, sure, resources can be expensive, but it's still worth talking about. For example, Northbridge Community Church in Pittsburgh gave their volunteers these t-shirts that simply had "For Pittsburgh." They not only wear them at church, they wear them in the community to create common ground. Now, if you can't afford to give t-shirts away, charge a few dollars for them, or ask someone in your church, will you give money to the church so that we can help pay for these t-shirts? And t-shirts, this is amazing. People love t-shirts. People go crazy about t-shirts. Sometimes people lose their religion over t-shirts, okay? But t-shirts are great conversation starters. And here's why. This doesn't really say anything about the church. It says it's creating common ground. Hey, I'm in Pittsburgh. I live in Pittsburgh. I'm for Pittsburgh. Where did you get that t-shirt? That creates common ground. So leveraging the "For" message with first-time guests is a great way to do that when they come to your church. For example, we give away 4 Gwinnett coffee mugs for first-time guests, which is obviously not a new idea. But guests are more likely to post about their "For" message than they are if you give them a coffee mug that says the name of your church on it. We've seen this. As we've given 4 Gwinnett coffee mugs out, we've seen people just post more and more about it because it creates common ground. Now again, the reason for this is that you're connecting with people and you're saying, hey, we've got something in common. We're for the community with you. Now, they might not even be a part of your church, but they do live in the community. So the point is this: resources like t-shirts, coffee mugs, like this card magnet, all of these are great ways to spread the "For" message. And messaging creates a very strategic initiative, ensuring that these aren't just trinkets that you're passing out, they are supporting a significant message about your church and the gospel. Step number 8, pay it backwards. Pay it backwards. Speaking of resources, the pay it backwards idea is a huge win. Here's what you do. You create a magnet like this for cars, and here's what happens. Let me tell you how we did this for Gwinnett. Remember, it's not just a sticker. We asked our church the week we gave them out to go through a drive-through restaurant or a coffee shop and pay for someone's food or drink behind them. So what's happening is somebody's sitting behind them, they see this message, and as they get up to the counter, you have bought their coffee or their meal. And obviously you can't do that every time. So we asked them to do it at least once a week. The response was unbelievable. The local Chick-fil-A restaurant actually had to put up a sign in the drive-thru to make it go faster. There were over 100 cars that paid it backwards in a row. That was their record. And every time this happened, someone was touched specifically by the for message. Now, the best time to do this is during the holidays, especially Christmas or around Thanksgiving. But don't be limited by this. You can promote it on a regular basis and allow it to become a part of the generous culture of your church. Again, this is a simple but powerful idea that your church can leverage just by driving around the community. Step number 9, social media photo booths on Sunday. This is so important. When you provide social media photo opportunities, it's always a great win because people will access those photos and post them on their own personal websites. And so as you have a photo booth when people are leaving, you just give them these signs, they hold them up, then later you post these photos on your website, then they take them and then they post them on their social media channels. And again, all of this is really free and it's really simple to do. And when they post these pictures on their social media platforms, you are reaching people that you probably wouldn't be able to reach at no cost. Step number 10, plan your social media post a month in advance. Frequency and consistency is very important in social media. But as you know, the pace of ministry can trump social media at times. So it's very important to have a plan. In our social media resource guide, we provide you with an example of what that looks like. Obviously, this doesn't mean that you can't be spontaneous. You should be. At the same time, it helps you avoid days or weeks in gaps with no connection at all. Step number 11, and this, I can't overemphasize how important this is. Dialogue, not monologue. Dialogue, not monologue. Most of all, remember that your social media campaign for FOR isn't a one-voice interaction where you're just talking at your community. Dialogue with people. Retweet their post, which have included your hashtag message. Measure your response times. In other words, if somebody sends you a tweet or something on Facebook, you should get back to them within a 24 or 48 hour time frame. We have a goal to respond back to people the same day when they ask us a question. But the point is, interact with people on social media. Use the social part of social media. Step number 12, use emojis, have fun. Church work is serious, but let's not take ourselves too seriously in the process. So be a student of social media. See who's doing it really well, having fun. See what's trending. Leverage emojis. Leverage holidays. Leverage special occasions. We show you some examples of how to do that in our social media resource guide. So those are 12 great ideas, but we're not done. We have a bonus idea for you. We call this one hashtag S'more Gwinnett. So you could do hashtag S'more your community. This is a simple idea to execute, but it will be a huge social media win. So here's how it works. The Sunday before Halloween, have several fire pits set up around your church with s'more packets. We ask people to bring their friends to sit around the fire pits and simply roast marshmallows to make s'mores. Now, it might seem like a small thing, but it lit up our social media feed that night, no pun intended. You can also see examples of this in our social media resource guide. Bottom line of this, social media is a fantastic way for you to tell your community that you're for them, but not just telling them, showing them by going into the community, encouraging the community, highlighting the community, and letting them know you're here for them.